to all. Welcome to this third session of fourth day. And in this session, we are going to see how we can perform the frequency response analysis on the spring mass system, which is the idealization of this robotic manipulator. So the complete robotic manipulator is considered to be made up of spring with some stiffness value and the mass which is lumped at the end. And based on that, we'll see what will be the displacement of the overall mass when subjected to some force, harmonic force. And when there is a resonance, we'll see what will be the maximum displacement. So to start with the steady state vibration, this is the reference, and the spring mass elements we are using. So till now we have used beam elements, we have used elements. Now in this case we are using the spring element and the mass element. So this tutorial will also tell you how to create the spring element, how to apply the stiffness, how to create a mass element, and how to apply the masses. So to start with the problem, I would like to just simply explain the problem. So a mass of 3 kg, mass of 3 kg. I think the screen is stuck.
Yes. The screen is on the top.
Okay, just a minute. Just check, sir. Okay, so now is it audible?
Yes, you're audible, and the screen is also.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so we'll just continue. So a mass of 3 kg is suspended by a spring stiffness of 1200 newtons per meter, and it is subjected to harmonic excitation force of 20 newtons. So you can see here the spring mass system is given with some damping coefficient of 75 newton second per meter, and from this we have to find out the natural frequency and the amplitude value at the resonance. So as you can see, we have the spring element here. We have mass and some damping value is there. So this damping coefficient, that is Cc, is given to be as 75 Newton second per meter, and I'll just scroll down. So you can see here the resonance frequency can be calculated using under K by M. So the K is given, that is the spring stiffness is given, and the mass value is given. So from this we can directly calculate the value of resonance frequency to be 20 radians per second, and which can be further from this we can find out the value of F, that is frequency in hertz. Then the frequency in hertz, this 20 divided by 2 pi will give us the frequency value of 3.18 hertz. That is nothing but the frequency, and then the amplitude of resonance we have to calculate. So this is the simple, I'll say, textbook. I'll say a textbook problem where we generally calculate the natural frequency, and based on that we can find out the amplitude at resonance. So to calculate the value of amplitude at the resonance, we have just general formula, that is nothing but the static deflection by root of 1 minus r square in the bracket complete, and the whole square plus 2 zeta r bracket square. So if you put the values of this in this particular equation, you will get the maximum deflection to be something around 0.0133 meters. So this we are going to see how we can analyze or how we can find out the values in phase. So here you can see this is the spring mass, which is, and a force of 20 Newton is applied at the mass m. So this damping coefficient is 75, which you, when you convert it with the formula, you will get the value of zeta to be 0.625. Start the problem. Just
Just a moment.
yeah. So okay, so we'll see how to model the spring mass system in the phase software. I'll just open the software. And I'll create So now here you can see, since this is a spring mass system, so there is no need of creating any geometry, because from the geometry finally the solver will calculate the stiffness. So since we already have the value of stiffness, already the stiffness value is known to us, so there is no need of creating any geometry. Without any geometry, we are trying to solve the complete problem. So we'll see how to do the analysis without the geometry. So first of all, we'll go to the main tab, and we will go to mesh directly. This is because, as I have told, like we are not creating any geometry. Instead, we are directly creating the string element. To create a string element, first we have to create some nodes, and those nodes we are going to at those particular nodes we are going to create elements. In mesh we have this node option. Mesh we have node option. You can simply go to this nodes. You can click on create mesh node, create by coordinates. Coordinates means x, y, z. Double click to invoke the command, and we can create one node at the origin. So I'll click on apply. So a node is created at the origin. You can see onto the screen at the center. And another point you can create, another node you can create. Now here you can see there is no dimension given. The screen is visible, or I'm just changing the slide. Can you see?
Yes, it's visible.
It is visible. Okay, no issues.
Yes.
So we have created at the center, that is at the origin, and as you can see in this image, there is no dimension at all, because
Hello?
from the geometry. Yes.
Sir,
Hello.
your
Yes, sir.
screen is not visible.
Okay, no issues. I'll just stop my screen sharing and I'll share it again. Just a minute.
Only PDF is we are able to see the PDF.
Now can you see the screen, please? Is it visible?
No, software screen is not visible there. Only PDF screen is visible.
Just a minute. Okay, now is it visible? Now I'm just coming back to the software page.
No,
Is it
software
visible now?
page is not. Software page is not visible, sir. Only PDF page is visible.
No, software
Okay.
is also visible. I am able to see that.
I think then there will be some internet issue at their end.
Connection at your end, yes, sir. So I'm able to see the feast page. That is not an issue actually.
Okay, so shall we continue, sir?
Yes. Please continue.
Yeah. Yes, no issues. Okay. So as you can see here, I'm just going back to the software page. So the stiffness, as you can see, it is already been derived and the value is there. We have the value. So there is no need of any geometry. So we don't have any geometric data. So another point we can create at any arbitrary location, because it is independent now, since we are directly defining stiffness of the structure. So at any location, it may be 1, it may be 10, it may be 1000. It may be any units. So you can simply create another node at any arbitrary location. So I'm creating one more node at any distance. For now, I have assumed it as one unit. Okay. So now these 2 points I have, 2 nodes I have generated. Once these 2 nodes are generated, we have to join these 2 nodes by string element.
Hello, manager. Hello, manager.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello, manager. Sir, are you
bola.
getting the software page?
Yes, sir. We are seeing both. See, if he switches between both the pages, now I think it takes some time to load.
Okay.
We are able to see that.
I don't know why it is happening with me. Only I am able to see the PDF page only.
Sir, I think you try to leave the meeting and join back again. Maybe it will work.
Okay, sir. Okay, no problem, sir. Yeah.
Okay. So now these 2 nodes we have generated. Now we have to create a string element. In order to generate the string element, we will go to this element option. In mesh, we'll go to element create. We'll go to mesh element create and simply scroll down. Here at the bottom, we have this mass element, tying, rigid link, string, gap element, as well as some fasteners. So I'll use the string element in our case. I'll double click to invoke the command. And here you can see we have node set 1 and node set 2. That means between the 2 nodes we can generate the string element. So node set 1 is nothing but the whatever node, first node we have created, that we are going to select. So I'll select node number 1 as node set 1 and node number 2 as node set 2. So node 1 and node 2 we have selected in these 2 boxes. String constant, here we have to give the string value, that is nothing but the stiffness value. I'll click on the dialog box because the stiffness can be given in X, Y, Z, and as well as the rotational stiffness can be given. Currently, we can give the stiffness value in the X direction. So I'll choose X, and here the value of the string stiffness is 1200 newtons per meter. So that stiffness value I'll simply give in X direction. Since this is 1 degree of freedom only in the X direction, I am going to apply the spring stiffness, that is Tx. So translation X, I'm going to apply the stiffness value. I'll click on apply. And here I'll simply click on apply. The string element is generated. Here you can now see this is the string element. I'll just repeat the procedure again. To create the string element, you can simply go to mesh element. You can scroll down and you can find the string option where you can add. And while adding in the node set 1, we have to select the first node. Node set 2, we have to select the second node, and in string constant, we have to give the value of the stiffness in the X direction. And then you can click on apply, so the string element will be applied between these 2 nodes. So now this K representation is done. Now we have to apply the mass element. So here you can see we have this mass. So we can simply generate a mass element by going to mesh element create. You can scroll down, you will find the mass element and double click to add the mass element. In the PDF you can see the mass is added, or the mass is applied at the second node. So you can simply apply the mass at node number 2. So I'm selecting the node number 2 and the value of the mass I'll apply it as 3 kg. You can see in the PDF the value of the mass is 3 kg. So here you can see the 3 kg is suspended by a spring. 3 kg and give, and I'll click on apply. So the spring element is added and the mass element is added. So our meshing is done. So this is nothing but the mesh where we have created the spring element and the mass element. So no need of any other representation. So the spring for the spring element we have defined the stiffness value, and for the mass element we have defined the mass value in kg in that particular direction. Now we have to give the fixity conditions. So in the PDF you can see the fixity conditions can be applied to the one side. So you can see on the left side we have to apply the boundary condition where all degrees of freedom will be 0. So I'll go to load structural displacement and add. I'll go to load structural displacement and add. Double click on add to invoke the command. Node IDs. Node IDs. I'll select this first node where we have to apply the boundary condition, and the dialog box, you can click on dialog box and you can erase all degrees of freedom. 3 translation and 3 rotation. I'll click on apply. So the boundary condition is also added. Then go back to this PDF. Now we have the forcing function, that is harmonic excitation of 20 newtons we have to apply. So here you can see we have the force of 20 newtons that we are going to apply on the mass. The mass will have be excited by force of 20 newtons. So for applying the value of this load, you can go to load structural. Go to structural instead of displacement. Here we have the third option called point load. You can go to point load and add. The node IDs.
So the node IDs can be
the
node
node ID
going to
we are
apply.
going to apply is on
Right.
this side.
So node ID we have to select. So the node will be the second node. And the force value here, the force value is nothing but 20 newtons, which is acting in the fx direction. So the component here you can select as fx. So in the x direction, the force is going to apply. You can see the image. So in the PDF, you can see the image. The force is acting in the actual direction. So the component is fx, the value of 20 newton is applied, And I can click on apply, so the force is also added. So the boundary condition and the load values are added. Now our next step is to apply the properties. Here now we'll see. Since we have directly given the value of stiffness K, there is no need of defining any general properties or the geometric properties. That means the physical properties we can eliminate as we have directly defined the stiffness. Similarly, you can see here the material properties are blank. That this is because since we are applying the value of mass. That means the software at its end, it will generate the mass matrix. Since we have also defined the value of K, the software will create its stiffness matrix. So stiffness matrix we have already defined, mass matrix we have already defined, so there is no need of material properties. So we can eliminate the material properties as well as physical properties. Material properties, because we have already defined the mass element, so we are eliminating the material property. Since we have already defined the stiffness, so we are eliminating the physical properties. So this is I'll say the spring mass system is the most easy way of solving the problem, because we are not creating geometry, we are not applying the material properties or geometric properties. Simply we are we have created a spring element, we have created mass element, we have applied loads, and we have applied the boundary condition. Now we can keep the properties and we can go to analysis. In the analysis type, we can perform the frequency response. We can perform the frequency response. Frequency response is nothing but harmonic analysis. Frequency response is also called as harmonic analysis or harmonic response. So I'll simply click on frequency response and I'll click on apply. Now, once you click on frequency response and if you click on apply, you'll find this frequency response is only highlighted. Rest will be they will be off. They will not highlight. Only frequency response will highlight. You can simply open the frequency response. Some settings, we'll call it as general settings. Some general settings will open where we can define the damping. In our case, you can see the damping, the CC is given to be as 75 Newton seconds per minute per meter. And when you calculate the value of zeta, that is the damping factor, it will be around 0.625. So the damping can be provided. So I'll just simply go to damping value and I'll add the damping. Now here, in order to apply the damping, you can click on this dialog box. So sometimes in some scenarios, we have to apply the varying damping values. So a chart is given, or we'll call it as a table. So a table is given where you can define the value of the damping. If you are giving to the software that at the first frequency, or let us consider, I don't know what is the frequency, what is the natural frequency, we are not knowing. So I'll simply type at 1. So it will start with 1 and it may end at, let us consider 100. So the starting frequency is 1 and the maximum frequency of this structure of this spring mass system, it may be something around 100. So the factor, damping factor, I'll give it as 0.625. Damping factor is 0.625. So both at 1 hertz, I'm giving the value as 0.625, and at 100 also I'll give the value as 0.625. That means the software will understand that the software or the this damping is uniform. It is constant. Once this damping is added, I'll click on OK. So the damping is added. That means we have given the stiffness matrix, we have given the mass matrix. Now we have defined the damping also. Now I'll go to general. I'll go to general, add. In this general settings, we have some of the options that we have to, I'll say, set as per the requirement. So response extraction is the default auto and some frequency steps. If you are interested to calculate the response in some frequency steps, you can select this option, or else you can you can keep it on mode. So the software will calculate the response based on this rest of the inputs. So we'll see what are the rest of the inputs. Number of modes, since you can see we have spring mass system, so it will only move in the x direction, and the number of modes we will keep it 20. So even then it will give us only the one value. So you can keep it what is default available here. Node list, we have to select the particular node where you are interested to see the results. Now since I'll just open the PDF. Now you can see the at one side it is fixed. That means the displacement at node number 1 is 0. So we are interested, or our interest is to calculate the displacement at node number 2 where mass is attached. So we are interested to find out U2, that is displacement at mass M. So node list, I'll choose node number 2. You can see here node number 2 we have selected. Now some more settings we have to apply, like start frequency and end frequency. Since we are performing the frequency response analysis, which is based on the superposition method, so software will calculate the natural frequency of the structure, and based on this natural frequency it will calculate the displacements. So model superposition method it is using. The start frequency, it can be anything. So anything in the sense, we don't know what will be the natural frequency. Though we have the hand calculations, we will see what software is going to give us. So the start frequency, I can keep it as start frequency as 1, that is 1 hertz. And end frequency, that is the maximum frequency, it may be 100 hertz. So in between 1 to 100 only I'll get the results. If the value is above this, or the resonance is above 100, then we have to increase the maximum frequency. But currently I'll keep it as 100 because we'll see the frequency range for our analysis is 1 to 100. Fine increment here indicates you can simply give the value of increment. That means the software will automatically take the coarse increment, fine increment near the resonance condition and coarse away from the resonance. So here we have the fine increment and coarse increment. Mass options, we have lumped and consistent. And if you want to find out the stress values, if you can request it to us, but our interest is to calculate the natural frequency and the displacement. So there is no need of stress. So I'll keep it no. I'll click on apply. So now our inputs are ready. So we will just quickly summarize what we have done so that we can perform the analysis and check out the results. So first of all, we have skipped the geometry since we have the spring and mass. So we eliminated the geometry modeling option. We have directly created some nodes, that is node number 1 and node number 2 we have created, and a spring element is generated between node number 1 and node number 2. Similarly, a mass element is also generated at node number 2 in order to represent the situation. And then the loads, in loads we have applied fixed condition to node number 1, and the boundary condition or the load we have applied at node number 2, which is applied in the x direction. In the properties, we have to fill the material properties and the physical properties. But since we have applied the stiffness and the mass matrix directly to the software, so there is no need of any property, that is material and physical properties are completely eliminated. And then we have directly set the analysis type to free frequency response, and some general settings we have performed, or general settings we have added. General setting means we have applied the damping, and then some general values we have defined. Base excitation whenever required for civil structures, and in that cases you can give the base excitation values. For now there is no need, so I will skip it. Now we can simply run the solver. I'll double click to run the solver, and it will ask me to save the file. So I'll just save the file with name as steady state vibrations. I'll simply name it as steady state vibration. I'll click on save, so it will save the file. I'll click on OK, it will start solving the model. So you can see it has solved in 0 seconds. So the analysis is complete. If you have any error or any warning, anything, you can simply text in the text box, or you can unmute and ask the question. Till then, we will go to this post. If it is solved, you can go to post, view results. You can go to post, view results. And in this items tab, I'll select the frequency, because our first interest is to check the frequency. Because we are going to solve first the natural frequency. You can see here. I'll just first calculate the frequency. So you can see, you can go to post, view result, and you can select the frequency from the item toolbox, and there you can select the frequency and you can click on apply. So first mode result we have got, which is 3.1831 Hertz. Now I'll go back to the PDF and we'll see what exactly the results are. I'll simply scroll down. You can see we have spring element, we have mass element. Simply divide this K by M under root. So the natural frequency can be calculated by omega is equal to under root K by M, which is nothing but 20 radians per second. Omega is 20 radians per second. And our interest is to calculate the result in Hertz. So you can simply divide this 20 Hertz by 2 pi. So these are the results. I'm just scrolling it down. So analytical, it's 3.18. This is because this 20 you can divide by 2 pi, you will get 3.18 Hertz. This 20 you can divide by 2 pi, you will get 3.18 Hertz. And the same results we have got using FEAST software. Now we will just see what is the output we want from this spring mass system. So first step is to find out the resonance frequency. That is nothing but the natural frequency. So the natural frequency of our structure is 3.18 Hertz. Now at this 3.18 Hertz, we are interested to find out what is the amplitude or the amplitude or the value of this displacement at this condition. So to calculate the value of displacement, we'll use this formula. I'll just scroll it down. I'll use this formula and we'll get this result. So the result is, go to feast. I'll go to displacement. I'll go to post view result in displacement. Here the frequency step is 1. So we have to check the frequency step. We have to check the frequency step. I'll click on the arrow. So here I have this software, since we have used frequency step to auto. So this is automatically, it has taken the frequency step from frequency range of 1 Hertz to 100 Hertz. So I'll take the frequency range of 3.18 Hertz. This is because our resonance condition or our natural frequency of the structure is 3.18 Hertz. You can choose any of the value, but still since our interest is to calculate the amplitude at resonance. Our interest is to calculate the value of amplitude at resonance conditions. So I'll choose the value of 3.18 since our natural frequency is 3.18 Hertz. And the nodes, in these nodes, we have to select the node where we are interested to find the displacement. So I'll choose the node number 2 so that way we can get the result at that particular location. And then I'll click on apply. So here you can see the value of Tx, that is the displacement in the x direction at that resonance condition is 0.0133 meters, and which is matching exactly with the analytical solution. So this way you can simply solve the problem of harmonic analysis. So for harmonic analysis, you can see since it is based on superposition method, this natural frequency is first calculated, and from that natural frequency, the displacement is calculated by the code, and finally you will get the output at resonance condition. So if you have any query or any question in this problem, which is the first problem of steady state vibration, you can please ask. Because after this we are going to solve a different problem, which I'll say it is a logarithmic decrement problem, and it is nothing but a transient vibration, which is based on the complementary function. So that we are going to see. So this problem is basically based on the particular integral, and the next problem, which is based on the transient vibrations, that we are going to solve using the complementary function. So if you have any query, you can please ask, or else we can move on to the second problem.
So if there are any questions for this particular problem, I request the participants So kindly raise them. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and solve the next.
So, okay, we'll move on to the second problem, which is the, let us consider if you are doing an experiment on a cantilever beam. So that beam is attached to one side. That means it is fixed to one side. And on the other side, you are applying a certain load using the string. On the other side, you are applying certain load using some string. And the load value here, you can see if it is 200 newtons, you have applied. And certainly you are simply cutting the string. You will simply take a scissor and you can cut the string. Okay, when it is loaded, there will be some particular deformation into the component, so that cantilever beam will have certain deformation. And when you cut the string with a scissor, it will start vibrating, and in some seconds, these vibrations will die down and it will come back to its original position. So that we are going to see exactly. So let us consider, you can see here, this length of the beam is there and which is fixed at one side, and we are applying certain load. So there will be some deformation. After there will be some deformation, you can simply cut the string. You are applying the load using some string, let us assume, and that string you will cut the string. So after cutting off the string, there will be some vibration induced in the structure, which will die down with particular time. So I'll just scroll down a little bit. So you will find that when the cantilever beam was loaded, it will have certain deformation. So here it is having the deformation. I'm just using my mouse to show you, to indicate what will be the deformation. So you can see it is deformed. The graph indicates that at 0 second, the graph indicates at 0 second, the beam is completely deformed. And when you cut off the string, so the deformation will reduce and it will have to and fro deformation movement, and certainly at some particular time it will die down, and then you will get the straight line. Some of the experiments can also be done using accelerometer and some LabVIEW kind of softwares for experimentation, but the same can be analyzed using FEAST as well. So this we are going to see in this session. So scroll it up. Analytical solution can be easily found out, since we have the cantilever beam which is loaded with some particular load value. So the deformation can be easily calculated by using the formula PL cube over 3EI, based on which we can calculate the simple stiffness. So the stiffness can be calculated as 3EI over L cube, which is once it is calculated, you will find the result. And if you once you are knowing the value of stiffness, and you also know what is the value of mass, you can simply find out what is the natural frequency of the structure. So here the natural frequency of the system is around 1 Hertz. So we have given the frequency range of we have to give the frequency range lower than 1 Hertz in order to capture the result. Deflection is this much. by hand calculation, since we know the formula, classical formula is PL cube over 3AI, and you will get the result. To calculate the time decay, we have the complementary function, which is nothing but the stat A2, which is nothing but the static deflection into e to the power minus zeta omega nt into sine of under root of 1 minus zeta square omega nt plus 5. This under root of 1 minus zeta square omega nt is nothing but omega d, damped natural frequency, which is calculated by omega n root 1 minus zeta square. So the complete complementary function is nothing but the A2, that is static deflection, into e to the power minus zeta omega nt into sine omega dt plus 5. Now, you can assume, you can give the boundary conditions where A2 is nothing but the static deflection, and the static deflection can be calculated by using the static deflection formula, which we already know. That is nothing but PL cube over 3EI. So based on this, we can find out what is the static deflection in the cantilever beam. Also, the boundary conditions can be added. Here you can see the boundary conditions are nothing but when this x is nothing but the static deflection, the conditions where at x equal to 0.0021, that is nothing but the static deflection at time is 0, and velocity is 0 at time equal to 0. These are the two boundary conditions which we are going to apply, and then we'll see what exactly the results we are getting using FEAST and the analytical solution. So to start with the problem, we have the geometric properties, we have material properties, and some loading conditions that we'll see what and how to apply. I'll just open the software. I'll close the previous file. I'll open the FEAST software. I'll create a new file. And here we have the length of the beam is 100 inches. In the PDF you can see the length of the beam is 100 inches. So we will create a point. Now we are going to create a cantilever beam. So there we have to create a geometry. So we are going to geometry, key point create by XYZ. Geometry key point create by XYZ. And one point I will create at the origin. And the second point I'll create at a distance of 100 inches. And I'll click on apply. So these 2 points we have created. First point at the origin, that is 0, 0, 0 we have created, and another point we have created at a distance of 100 inches. And now we are going to create a line. I'll go to geometry, curve, create a line, and I'll just join these 2 points by a line. I'll just join these 2 points by a line, so a line is generated. That means our cantilever beam, the geometry is ready. Once the geometry is ready, we will go to mesh. Once the geometry is ready, we'll go to mesh, FE mesh. Since this is a cantilever beam, I'll go to bar command, The name of the command is bar, but default it is a beam element having 6 degrees of freedom per node. I'll double click on this and I'll choose this curve. I'll choose this curve and I'll use only one element because only one element is sufficient to capture the deformation, and we can get the results. I'll give the value of 1 in the subdivisions. Only one element is sufficient for our analysis. So now you can see complete length of the beam is now a single element. Our meshing is also done. Now we will move on to the loads and boundary condition. In loads and boundary conditions, we'll go to structural, displacement, and add. This is because our beam is a cantilever beam, so we have to give the fixity condition to one side. So I'll click on node number 1. I will click on node number 1 and the boundary condition values. I have to arrest all degrees of freedom. I have to arrest all degree of freedom from one side. Okay, so you can see we have created geometry, then we have meshed it. Now we are applying the loads and boundary conditions. So I have gone to loads and boundary conditions. There we have selected the structural, displacement, and add. And we have selected node number 1 and the boundary condition values. We have arrested all degrees of freedom. So this is the condition which we have given to our beam, which is their cantilever beam. Now we will just go on to the PDF and we'll see what is the load value. So the load value is 200 newtons. The load value is 200 pounds actually, because everything is in inches. So the load value is into pounds. So I'll go to loads, structural point load. I'll go to loads, structural point load, and I'll add the value of 200 newtons in downward direction of the Y, because it is going to deflect in the Y direction. It is going to deflect in Y direction. So I'll give the value of Fy, value of minus 200 in Fy component, and I'll click on apply. So the forcing function is also added. As we are interested to perform the transient vibrations, we have applied the forcing function, which is applied in Y direction of 200 pounds. Yes, so now the force is also added. Now we'll go to properties. Here we have to define the properties. So the properties, you can see the material properties is 32 E6 psi and Poisson's ratio as 0.3. So properties, structural, isotropic, I'll go. And I'll apply the material properties to all the elements. Material is 32 E6. Poisson's ratio anyway will give 0.3. And I'll click on apply. So the material is also added. So whatever problem we have solved on the first day for a cantilever beam, the same thing which we are currently following, but only thing is that on the first day we have solved the static analysis. Now it's our turn to solve the static as well as pre-vibration as well as transient response. So we'll see how to perform the analysis. Once the material property is defined, our next step is to apply or assign the material properties to the beam. So I'll go to beam section, standard section, add elements. I'll select all since the material properties and the cross-sectional properties are uniform. So I'll go to the PDF, and here you can see the area is given to be as 72 inches square. Area is 72 inches square, and the value of I is given to be 864 inches to the power 4. So the area is 72 inches square, and the value of IZZ is given to be 864. So this is the property which we are assigning it to the cantilever beam. Now you can see the properties added.
Hello.
It is added. I'll press Control F.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think it would be better not to explain why you put moment of inertia in Z direction. Instead, I mean, will it be better? Because
Yes.
in the sum, it is the inner moment of inertia axis is not given. No? That's what I'm saying.
Yes, but generally, since we have created the this thing beam in the x direction,
X
length of the beam is in the x direction. So in that case, we have to define the moment of inertia in the ZZ axis.
Huh. Yeah.
Yes. So
Actually,
it's-
a lot of people will not know about this. No? Since the moment of inertia, the thing is not taught apart from mechanical. That's why.
Okay. So the length is basically we have modeled in the x direction. So we have to define the moment of inertia in the z direction. That is IZZ. Okay. Now once the beam properties are added, our next step is to perform the analysis. So here, as you can see in the analytical solution, we have calculated the value of deflection. We have calculated the value of deflection, but the software should give us the value of this deflection. So for that, we are performing the static analysis. So I'll go to analysis and I'll perform the static analysis. And I'll run the solver. So the static analysis we are performing in order to get the displacement. So once we get the displacement, I'll tell you why, since we are performing the dynamic problem, why we are solving the static analysis, that we'll see once I'll get the result. So I'll just type it here as static analysis. I'll save and run the model. I'll go to post, deform shape, and I'll simply click on superimpose. So here you can see the deformation. You can see the deformation is 0.00024 inches, which is the deflection we have got. That means when the cantilever beam is loaded with some value, or let us consider robotic structure or manipulator is picking up some certain kind of a load of 200 pounds. So it will have the deflection. It will have the deflection of 0.0024 inches. Now, with this deformation, when the load is suddenly removed, there will be some transient vibrations induced into the structure. So the initial condition for this transient vibration is that it is deflected at some particular distance of 0.0024 inches. So to know this value, to know this magnitude of deflection or the amplitude of deflection, we have calculated this static analysis or static deflection. Once the static deflection is calculated, our interest is to find out what is the natural frequency of the structure. To find out what is the natural frequency of the structure, you can simply go to the edit tab. You can simply go to this edit tab, and here in this edit tab, you can change the analysis type. You can change the analysis type from static analysis to free vibration analysis. Now, free vibration analysis we are performing in order to calculate the natural frequency. So we have to go step by step, only then we'll get the results. Otherwise, whatever the software is garbage in, garbage out process, so it will give any output. So first of all, for performing this kind of analysis, that is transient vibrations, we'll perform the static analysis to get the static deflection. From the static deflection, with the static deflection, we will also perform the free vibration analysis, and then we will go on to the transient vibration. So I have just gone to the static analysis and changed it to free vibration. I'll click on apply and I'll run the analysis. Okay, I'll run the analysis. Now you can see in the message box there is some error. In the message box there is one error. So it is showing that it has failed to compute. So this is because we are performing the free vibration analysis, and in the material properties, I'll simply go to the material properties, and you can see here the density is not defined. Here the density is not defined. So there are two options. Either you can define the density, or to create the mass matrix, this density you can define, or else you can simply define the mass element. So here you can see in the geometric properties, we have a mass of 2000 kg. So the cantilever beam has a lump mass. We can give the lump mass of 2000 lb second square per inches at the free end. So for that, we can go to mesh, element, create, and a mass element can be added at the free end. So I'll go to mesh element, create mass element. At the last node, that is at free end, we will apply the value of 2000 in the y direction. This is because the mass is applied here, and we are applying it in the x direction. In the y direction. Done. So now the mass is added, and now I'll perform the analysis. I'll simply solve it. I'll try to solve, and now you can see it has successfully finished. I'll go to post, view result. I'll go to post, view result, and I'll calculate the frequency. I'll go to post, view result. I'll check what is the frequency now. So here you can see the frequency is 1 Hertz, 1.02017 Hertz is the natural frequency of this cantilever beam. I'll go to the PDF. Here you can see the natural frequency is nothing, is 1 hertz. Here you can see the natural frequency of the system is 1 hertz and ours is 1.02 hertz.
Hi. Can I, मुझे एक क्वेश्चन था.
Yes, sir, please.
ये why did you add mass in y direction and not in x direction?
So
Sorry,
yes.
in z direction.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right. Since this is a cantilever beam, so it will have the deflection in the y direction because we have applied
अच्छा,
load in
हाँ,
y direction.
ठीक. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes.
I understand.
Yes, and also this beam has almost 6 degrees of freedom. So we have not arrested we have arrested only on the one side. Rest on the other side, we have some degrees of freedom available. So the mass we have added only in that particular direction so that it will not give the frequency in rest of the direction. So only one, you can see only one frequency we have got.
अगर हम लोग मास दूसरे डायरेक्शन में ऐड करते हैं
So
क्या
we'll
मेरा
get,
आंसर
yes, we'll get second mode.
ओके
Yes, we'll get second mode in that case.
कैसे मतलब ये वाला पार्ट नहीं समझा मुझे मोड
Okay,
2
so
में नोड
so
नंबर में
yes. So basically, our whatever element which we are using is a beam element having 6 degrees of freedom per node. So we already have only one element in this, and we have two nodes. So on one node, we have applied complete fixed boundary condition. That means all degrees of freedom we have adjusted. On the another side, we have not applied any boundary condition. That means it has all 6 degrees of freedom available. So it can move in any direction. So if I apply the mass in x, y, and z, because mass is a scalar quantity. So if I give the value of, yeah, hello. Hello. Yeah, is it audible? Yeah. If I give the value of mass in x, y, and z, so it will give me the natural frequency and the mode shapes in the x, y, z direction. So 3D view or the 3D representation will get when we apply the masses in the rest of the direction. But now what we have is we only want the deflection.
मुझे वो समझा नहीं मुझे समझा just I just wanted to clarify one doubt is that
Yes.
अगर मेरा मास अगर मैं कोई भी डायरेक्शन में देता हूँ मेरा लोड तो नीचे की साइड पे है तो
Yes.
मेरा जो नेचुरल फ्रीक्वेंसी आएगा या वो 1 हर्ट्ज ही आएगा वो मैक्सिमम उसी डायरेक्शन में है
No.
irrespective of whether I add mass in any other direction.
Actually, now whatever forces we have applied, that force value we have applied, but the natural, the free vibration is basically where force is 0. So mx double dot equals to 0. That force is not considered in that case. Only mass is, that mass will move only in that if you are applying in z.
Okay.
So it will move in z. So the result is, if you animate, it will give it in z.
हाँ I understood. ठीक है. Okay.
Yes.
Please continue.
Thank you. So the screen is not visible, I guess. Just a minute. Okay. So the screen is visible, I guess. Yeah. Now the frequency we have got is 1 hertz. And the static deflection is known to us. So if you look in this complementary function equation, static deflection is we have achieved by using by performing this static analysis. Zeta value is known to us, and omega n, that is natural frequency, now we have found out to be 1 hertz, which can be converted into radians per second, that is omega n. Similarly, since we have the value of zeta, so that omega d can be calculated by under root 1 minus zeta square into omega n. So this value also we have we know now. So if you put this equation, put these values in the equation, you can get the result. Now for software, we have to perform the transient vibration, since our interest is to find out the output with respect to time. So if we are interested to perform the analysis with respect to time, we have to perform the transient analysis. So now I'll save the model, or I can simply edit the same model. I'll go to edit tab, and the analysis type from the static analysis, we have performed the free vibration analysis where we have got the frequency. Now we will use transient response. I'll click on transient response and apply. So in 3 steps, we are performing the analysis. First is static analysis to calculate the static deflection, and second is to calculate the natural frequency. Third step, we are performing the transient response analysis. So I'll click on apply. Now, once this transient response is selected, you can see here we have transient response option. Here there are some options which we have to use, like general, initial displacement, initial velocity, and the damping. So you can see here the initial displacement is nothing but the static deflection. So as you know, because of that force, the beam is deflected, and the deflection we have calculated using static analysis. So we have to give the initial displacement in order to capture the result. The initial displacement value we can apply to this particular node, and the value of the initial displacement is applied in y direction because the beam is deflected in y. So I'll give the deflection value as 0.024. This is this value is nothing but the static deflection which we have achieved using static analysis. I'll click on apply. So the initial displacement is added. Now this initial displacement we have already given to the software. So I'll just go to this edit tab, and you can see here we have this force option, force command which we used for static analysis. That is not required because of this force we have got the static result, and we have given the initial displacement, which is nothing but the static result. So here in transient analysis, basically we have to give the initial displacement as our initial condition. So transient analysis is basically based on the initial conditions we have to that we are giving it to the software. So this initial condition we have got using static analysis. So initial condition is nothing but 0.0024, which is static deflection. Now, after applying the static deflection, we will give some general settings. General settings are nothing but number of steps. So how many steps are required in your analysis? In how many steps you want to solve? So I'll just keep it 100. So total 100 steps will be generated between the time step, that is start time of analysis. So now I'll assume that when this cantilever beam is deflected, so from deflection, it is started. So the start time is 0. And when the string is cut, it will induce transient vibrations. So I'll just check whether they are going to damp in 1 second or 10 seconds or 20 seconds. So for now, I'll give the end time as 10 seconds. You can give 100 seconds, you can give 20 seconds, you can give 5 seconds, anything you can give. Once you get the output, you will find that it has come to steady state or no. Within 10 seconds, if it comes to steady state, then okay, our analysis is okay. If it doesn't come to this steady state in 10 seconds, you have to increase the time. So our end time of analysis is 10 seconds. And node IDs. So at which particular node you want to get the result? So I'll choose node number 3. Node number 2 and apply. So at this particular node, I want the results. So in the transient, I'll just brief. In transient, we have add the general settings, and we have given the initial condition, which is nothing but a static deflection. And now we can simply run the solver. I'll simply go to analysis and I'll run the solver. Once the solution is done, I'll go to post. Once the solution is done, I'll go to post. And I want the graph which can tell me whether whether my structure has come to the steady state or no. So I'll go to history plot, where the history of node number 2 is available. So I want the result in this y direction because the initial displacement we have given in the y direction. So this graph we have got of initial displacement. So I'll just close.
वो डैम्पिंग फैक्टर डाला है आपने?
Damping initial, okay, so damping is not there. So we'll go to this main tab in the analysis, transient response, the damping we have left.
हाँ,
We have
0.3 डालेंगे तो डैम्प होगा वो.
Yes. So in this damping, we will just check what is the value of damping. The damping
0.3,
value.
0.3. Oh, sorry, 0.1.
0.1. So frequency I'll give from consider from 1 hertz to say 10 hertz. I'll give the value of 0.1 and 0.1, so the uniform damping is applied. And now I'll run the analysis again. And now I'll go to post, history plot, displacement, and I'll check the results. Now you can see because of this damping, it has damped and it will come back to the original position after say 8 seconds. It will come back to the original position. So it will start at some initial displacement, whatever initial displacement we have given, it will start with this because initial displacement we have given at 0.0024. And once the string is cut, it will induce vibrations, and then it will have some vibrations, and it will decay with time, and it will decay by 8 seconds. We'll just scroll down. So if you use the same equation and if you put the values and if you plot the result in the Excel sheet, you'll get the same result. These are the Excel results. You will get these results in the Excel sheet.
Aniket, yeah, actually, I hope you recognize me, right? मतलब
Just a minute, sir.
एक चीज पूछना था.
हाँ, yes sir, yes sir.
नहीं, you recognize me, ना? I was the one actually. मैं इतने देर से
Yes, tell me, sir.
या सो मेरा क्वेश्चन था कि आपने जो प्रोसीजर बोला ना कि पहले मैंने स्टैटिक डिफ्लेक्शन मैंने कैलकुलेट किया, फिर मैंने उसका
Yes.
फ्री वाइब्रेशन लिया और फिर उसके बाद मैंने उसको
Transient.
ट्रांजिएंट एनालिसिस किया। तो
Yes.
ये जो प्रोसीजर है, ये जो 1 2 3 आपने जो प्रोसीजर बोला है, मतलब
Yes.
मुझे ऐसा ही क्यों करना है? और मैं अगर मैं फ्री वाइब्रेशन या नेचुरल फ्रीक्वेंसी को मैं कैलकुलेट नहीं करता हूँ और डायरेक्टली ट्रांजिएंट में चला जाता हूँ, तो मेरा क्या क्या फर्क होगा?
Okay. So, your first question is like, why to calculate the static deflection or static analysis? Why we have performed the static
नहीं
analysis?
नहीं 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 आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट।
Okay.
आई नो दैट नॉर्मली हम लोग जब कैलकुलेट करते हैं तो हम लोग तो स्टैटिक डिफ्लेक्शन कैलकुलेट करना पड़ता है, क्योंकि मुझे इनिशियल पोजीशन ट्रांजिएंट एनालिसिस के लिए जरूरी पड़ता है। मेरा
True.
क्वेश्चन
True.
ये है कि मैं आपने जो प्रोसीजर बोला ना कि पहले स्टैटिक उसके बाद नेचुरल या फ्री फ्रीक्वेंसी आपने जो बोला और उसके
Yes.
बाद ट्रांजिएंट, ये जो बीच में जो फ्री फ्रीक्वेंसी आप ऐड कर रहे हो, मैं ये बोल रहा हूँ कि अगर मैं उसको स्किप करता हूँ तो क्या होता है?
Okay. 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 So that natural frequency we have calculated because यहाँ पे I'll just open the PDF. So in this equation we have this omega n. तो ये omega n क्या आता है ये दिखाने के लिए I have performed the free vibration.
हाँ, वो तो अपना बॉडी का नेचुरल फ्रीक्वेंसी निकल जाता है, मतलब आपने जो
Yes.
कैंटिलीवर बीम निकाला है उसका वो
Yes.
बॉडी का नेचुरल फ्रीक्वेंसी आ जाता है।
Yes.
मेरा
If in
मेरा जब
we
इंड्यूस्ड
are not
फ्रीक्वेंसी आ
performing,
हाँ,
yes.
मेरा मेरा नॉर्मली क्या करना है कि मुझे रेजोनेंस अवॉइड करने के लिए जब वो ट्रांजिएंट एनालिसिस करेगा मुझे अवॉइड करना पड़ेगा 1 हर्ट्ज को। तो वो
Yes.
तो आई अंडरस्टूड दैट, बट ठीक है, मतलब आई अंडरस्टैंड, बट आई एम
You are
सेइंग
saying
दैट
like,
व्हाट हाउ विल
you are saying like why we are performing free vibe, मतलब हम जो procedure
मतलब
यूज कर रहे
सॉफ्टवेयर में क्या फर्क होगा?
हैं। Yes, yes, true. अभी सॉफ्टवेयर में मैंने ये क्यों दिखाया है, like you can see in this PDF हम ये एक्सेल शीट से मैच करना चाहते हैं because we have the solution. So एक्सेल शीट से मैच करने के लिए we have this function. तो इसमें ये ओमेगा एन क्या आता है ये दिखाने के लिए मैंने ये स्टैटिक एनालिसिस परफॉर्म किया है और ये पूरा मैच करके दिखाया। In case if you skip this free vibration, even that is okay. You can simply calculate the static deflection and you can perform the transient vibrations directly. There is no need of vibration. But
नॉर्मली
in
क्या है
order
ना कि हम लोग जो सम्स सॉल्व करते हैं या फिर हम लोग
हाँ
जब एनालिसिस करते हैं तो हम लोग वो नेचुरल फ्रीक्वेंसी को अवॉइड, मतलब हम लोग ढूंढते नहीं है, क्योंकि
हाँ
नेचुरल फ्रीक्वेंसी नॉर्मली, हाँ डेफिनेटली नेचुरल फ्रीक्वेंसी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है जब आपका बहुत बड़ा स्ट्रक्चर हो जाता है
yes
तो बीम के लिए, मतलब इतना छोटा बीम के लिए और इतना छोटा ये के लिए हम लोग नॉर्मली अवॉइड करते हैं, ठीक है, बट इट इज गुड, आई मीन
yes yes
करेंगे
yes.
तो भी
So,
कुछ ये नहीं होता।
for example, if you are doing the hand calculations, in that case, how you perform? मतलब in
हेलो,
क्या by software if you are doing na, if you are
हाँ हाँ
doing by some softwares, it is okay if we
हाँ,
are
तो नहीं
watching the
नहीं
free vibration.
एक्चुअली ना मैम,
But
क्या ये नॉर्मली जब सम्स करते हैं ना हम लोग, हमारा जो
yeah,
सम्स होता है टेक्स्ट बुक में जो सम्स आते हैं, वहाँ पे नॉर्मली क्या होता है कि हम लोग को अगर ट्रांजिएंट एनालिसिस करना होता है या फिर ट्रांजिएंट कैलकुलेशन करना होता है तो हम लोग डायरेक्टली कैलकुलेट करते हैं। वहाँ पे अगर
okay,
सम में बोला होगा कि इस पर्टिकुलर बॉडी का या इस पर्टिकुलर कैंटिलीवर बीम का नेचुरल फ्रीक्वेंसी ओमेगा एन ढूंढना है, तो हम लोग
okay,
ढूंढ
okay.
के देते हैं।
You perform.
जैसे वन
Okay,
वन
okay.
बाई टू स्क्वायर रूट ऑफ एल बाई एम या के बाई एम वट एवर द नॉमेनक्लेचर में डिफर, बट वहां पे अब हम लोग ढूंढ के दें, अगर अगर नहीं पूछते हैं तो हम लोग नहीं ढूंढते। तो दैट इज व्हाई आई आस्क कि अभी सॉफ्टवेयर में क्या फर्क होता है, मतलब इज देयर एनी चेंजेस या फिर
Okay. Hmm.
दैट्स ऑल आई एम आस्किंग।
Yes, yes,
नहीं नहीं,
yes,
आई
yes.
आई अंडरस्टूड द, मतलब ये मतलब प्रोसीजर मुझे समझ में आया। आई एम सेइंग कि मैं अगर स्किप करता हूँ तो सॉफ्टवेयर कैसा रिएक्ट करेगा, दैट्स ऑल आई
No,
एम
no,
आस्किंग।
no. It will happen. It will still solve, but only to match the results with these hand calculations. जो
या
analytical solution है, I have performed the free vibration.
या ओके ओके, या आई अंडरस्टूड।
Okay, sir. Thank you. If there are any questions, please you can ask.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
In this edit tab in the left top corner in the software, we
Yes.
see this set 1 then 0 is to 2. What is that? I do not understand what that is. For example,
Okay.
in that if you for some selection, for example, in this one there is 0 is to 1, then there is like set 1. What I could not understand what that was.
Okay, sir. I'll just explain. Huh? See, on the screen, I'm just going to this edit tab. In this displacement, if I click on this displacement, there will be 0 is to 1. I'll simply explain what it is exactly. So here, 0 is the name of the label. So at the bottom, you can see name of the label is 0. So I'll just change the name to, I'll just type boundary condition. Boundary condition, I'll type and I'll click on apply. So now you can see, I'll click on displacement constraint. So it will be instead of 0, now it is labeled as boundary condition is to 1. Now this is to 1 is nothing but the set ID. Because since in our model we have only one boundary condition, it is set as 1. Boundary condition is to 1. If I am applying, let us consider I am applying another boundary condition to the other side. I'll just select the node number 2 and I'll give some pin support to other side. So here you can see the label is 0 again. Here you can see label is 0. Here you can see label is 0 is to 2. 2 is nothing but the set ID. So default, the set ID software will take it as 1, 2, 3 and so on. If there is a big model and if there are some 10 to or more than 2 boundary condition, it will be very difficult to recognize. So for that, the set ID is given, which is nothing but 2. Label you can simply edit. I'll just edit the label as boundary condition. I'll type it as BC, that is boundary condition. I'll click on apply. Now you can see in displacement constraint, we have first set as boundary condition is to 1, that is boundary condition first set. BC is to 2 is the boundary condition, which is second set we have added. So it will be easy for us to recognize. Similarly, you can go to material. In material, there will be set 1. Material, there will be set 1. You can simply edit the label. Here you can type the material name as steel. I'll type it as name as steel and I'll click on apply. So here also you can see the material is steel is to 1. That is material is steel and the set ID is 1. So if there are multiple materials in your geometry or in your model, you can name it here, material name as steel, aluminum, anything, and accordingly the set IDs will be 1, 2, 3 and so on.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, very good presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Right, so if there are any more questions, I request participants, you can unmute and ask the questions, or you can even put them in chat. Okay, so then I think we have come to an end of this session. So on behalf of Automobile Engineering Department at RIT, I would like to thank Mr. Aniket for his wonderful hands-on for both the sessions today. So we had a very fruitful demonstration, and hopefully this will help all the participants. And I will also be uploading the videos of all these sessions. So in case you want to try it again later on the participants can try at their own pace also. So thank you, Aniket. It was a wonderful session.
Thank you, sir.